In case you didn't know, the transfer window is closed for Premier League clubs. So now that the dust has settled and teams have started the new campaign, let's go back and rate each side's summer transfer business. Let's start with Arsenal, who've seen it rescue their summer on deadline day. Their defence was the big issue, and they've went away to fixing it with the arrivals of David Luiz and Kieran Tierney. They've also added an extra top bracket player, with Nicolas Pepe becoming their most expensive ever signing. If Dani Ceballos can settle, he's a real midfield talent, while Brazilian forward Martinelli is a bit of an unknown quantity. But it's been a real positive summer for Arsenal in the end, and they get a 9 out of 10. On to Aston Villa, who spent a lot of money on their return to the Premier League. They made loan deals permanent for Tyrone Mings, Anwar El Ghazi and Courtney House, while they've also strengthened all over the pitch. Tom Heaton is a great buy and adds real quality in between the sticks. Ezri Konsa is going to be a top class defender, and Trezeguet brings an X factor to their attack. The only issue is up front, as Wesley didn't look too convincing on the opening day against Spurs. A strong summer though for Villa, who get an 8.5 out of 10. Next up is Bournemouth, who appear to have had a pretty sensible summer. They haven't really taken any risks, just bringing in young players who can do a job and improve. Philip Billing has the potential to be a top quality player, while getting Harry Wilson on loan is quite a coup, as for a while it didn't look like Liverpool were going to let him go unless they got 20 million for him. They've also added Lloyd Kelly and Jack Stacey, rounding off a good summer, which gets Bournemouth a 7 out of 10. Hindsight is a wonderful thing, and it's really helped me grade Brighton's summer. Neil Maupay looks like he has the composure needed to be a Premier League forward, while the players that didn't feature on the opening day can certainly offer something. We know what Aaron Moy can do, Leandro Trossard is going to be a creative force, then you've got Adam Webster, who better be good considering the price they paid. Let's not get too carried away, but it's a 7 out of 10 for Brighton. Next we've got Burnley, who yet again weren't busy boys this summer. Eric Peters replaces the outgoing Stephen Ward and enjoyed a spectacular debut, while seeing G Rodriguez back at Turf Moor must be great for fans after all these years. The biggest name to arrive is Danny Drinkwater, but will the bloke even remember how to play after sitting in the Chelsea reserves for so long? It wasn't anything special from Burnley, whose business gets a 4.5 out of 10. Chelsea did sign Mateo Kovacic, but their ban stopped them from bringing anyone else in, so we're not going to give them a grade. Moving on to Crystal Palace, who brought in some good players, but not enough to really inspire you. Gary Cahill, while experienced and can still do a job, while Victor Camarasa and James McCarthy are solid centre midfielders. But they've already got decent centre midfielders. They needed attacking reinforcements and a right back replacement for Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I mean, they did sign Jordan Ayew, but he's awful. It's a 4 out of 10 for Roy Hodgson's Crystal Palace. Next is Everton, who were busy once again this summer, adding 7 players to their squad. And they've added players of quality too. Getting Andre Gomez back was great, Fabian Delph as a leader, and Gabaman will hopefully be an adequate replacement for Idrissa Gana Gueye. Sidibe adds great depth at fullback, Moise Kean is one of the highest rated young forwards in Europe, and Alex Iwobi is certainly a handful, even if he was far too expensive. We're going to give Everton 8 out of 10. Leicester City have also added quality to their team this summer. Yuri Tillemans is a brilliant signing, getting him back permanently after his initial loan from Monaco. Ioza Perez could bring goals but was inconsistent during his Newcastle days, while Dennis Pratt is technically gifted and will add even more craft to his stocked midfield. However, they might be worried they didn't sign a Harry Maguire replacement. It's a 7.5 out of 10 for the Foxes. On to European champions Liverpool, who were much quieter than expected. After narrowly missing out on the title, you'd think they'd at least add one first team player to their squad, but Klopp has decided to stick with what he's got, only adding 2 youth players and Adrian as a backup keeper to his squad. I can see why he's done it, but it's a massive risk and one that could really backfire. It's just a 3 out of 10 for the Reds. As for Manchester City, they won 3 domestic titles last season and have only made their squad stronger. Pep Guardiola picked out weak areas in his squad and improved them. Angelino is another body who can play at left back, João Cancelo adds competition on the other side and will be Kyle Walker's long term successor, while Rodri is exactly what Pep has been looking for in a Fernandinho replacement. A superb summer for Manchester City, who get a 9 out of 10. Next up is Manchester United, and after their win at Chelsea, it looks like a brilliant summer. Harry Maguire was imperious, Wan-Bissaka was solid, and Dan James got a debut goal. But not every week is going to be like that, and Manchester United still could have done a bit more to their squad to help them climb the table. However, Harry Maguire is a great signing for them and could be Solskjaer's Van Dijk, so we're going to give them a 7 out of 10. Newcastle had an interesting summer in which they smashed their transfer record to bring in Joe Linton. The Brazilian looks like a good purchase, but questions remain as to whether he can get the goals. Alan Saint-Maximin looks a handful but potentially inconsistent, then the fullback additions also aren't anything to really get excited about. However, the return of Andy Carroll is exciting, especially if he can stay fit. It's a 5 out of 10 for Steve Bruce's side. Next it's Norwich City, who for good reason decided not to splash the cash, having done so in the past and suffered the consequences. But it's resulted in a pretty underwhelming summer at Carrow Road, with some uninspiring arrivals such as Sam Byer and Josip Dermich. Patrick Roberts could be exciting on loan if he gets the required minutes, but Norwich are mainly going to be pinning their hopes on the players who got them up in the first place. It's a 4 out of 10 for the Canaries. Sheffield United also won promotion last season, but haven't been scared to spend some money. However, their recruits have been interesting, almost as if they're signing players for the Championship. Ollie McBurney, Luke Freeman, Callum Robertson and Ben Osborne are solid second tier players, but can they really step up? The jury is out for now, but let's not write them off completely, so Sheffield United signings get a 6 out of 10. On to Southampton, who weren't massively busy this summer, but made efforts to improve their offensive ranks. Danny Ings' loan deal became permanent as expected, while Che Adams made the step up from the Championship, having excelled at Birmingham last season up front. They also added pace with Moussa Djenepo, and he could be a star if he adapts to Premier League life quickly. However, Southampton signings aren't going to guarantee them success, so it's just a 5.5 out of 10 for them. Tottenham finally signed some players this summer, and some good ones at that. Record signing Tanguy Ndombele looks like the real deal and scored a cracker on his debut, while Giovanni Lo Celso will add goals from midfield, taking the pressure off Harry Kane up top. Then you've got Ryan Sessegnon, one of the highest rated young English players around, and he seems the perfect player for Mauricio Pochettino to mould. We're going to give Tottenham an 8 out of 10. Next it's Watford, who really don't look like they've done enough. Danny Welbeck is a big name and will be decent if he stays fit, the issue is he's never fit. Craig Dawson is a solid acquisition from West Brom, then you've got Islam Assar from Rennes, who could be an excellent signing for the Hornets, and is the only real chance they've got of this proving to be a successful summer. For now though, it's a 4.5 out of 10. On to West Ham, who made 2 great signings this summer, but then didn't really do much else. Sebastian Haller and Pablo Fornals add quality to Manuel Pellegrini's side, but they probably needed to do a bit more. If those two settle and make the difference then it won't really matter, but for now it still looks like a slightly frustrating summer for West Ham fans. We're going to give them a 6.5 out of 10. And finally it's Wolves. Their big signings were getting Raul Jimenez and Leander Dendoncker on permanent deals, but to be honest I think we all expected a bit more from Wolves this summer. Patrick Cutrone is a big name, and Jesus Vallejo will also add depth at the back on loan, but the rest of the signings are hardly big names. It might be a case of wait and see, but right now we're giving Wolves a 5.5 out of 10. So that's every Premier League club's summer transfer business rated. Let us know your grades in the comments below. Thanks for watching and don't forget to like, share and subscribe.